My sister took my inheritance and laughed. You'll be fine without it. But when I found out what she spent it on, the family turned against her. My name is Raymond Cross. Ray, for short. I'm 42 years old, a history professor at Northwestern University, divorced, and living in an apartment in Chicago that I wouldn't exactly call home. It's comfortable, sure, but there's nothing tying me to it. Nothing special about it. The place I used to call home, the house I grew up in, the one my father left me in his will, was taken from me. Not by a stranger, not by some corporate scam or legal loophole, but by my own sister, Tessa. And she didn't even blink when she did it. The funeral had been hard. Dad wasn't a wealthy man, but he was a good man. He worked as an electrician for almost 40 years, the kind of guy who never called in sick, never left a job unfinished, never owed anyone a dime. He and my mom, Margaret, built a simple, stable life in a quiet neighborhood in Naperville, just outside of Chicago. It wasn't a mansion, but it was ours, a modest 2-bedroom house with a creaky front porch and a backyard big enough for barbecues in the summer. It was where we grew up, where I had my first heartbreak, where Tessa used to climb out of her bedroom window to sneak off with boys when she thought no one noticed. Where Dad sat at the kitchen table every night with a glass of whiskey and his newspaper, rubbing his temples after a long day. I thought we'd always have it. But death changes things. And money ruins everything. After the funeral, when we all sat in Mr. Dorsey's law office for the reading of Dad's will, I wasn't expecting any surprises. My father was fair. He loved us both. But when the words left the lawyer's mouth, my sister's entire body tensed. To my son, Raymond, I leave the house so that he will always have a place to call home. Tessa's head snapped up. What? I turned to look at her, and the way her jaw clenched made my stomach knot. She wasn't just surprised. She was pissed. That. She let out a humorless laugh. That can't be right. Mr. Dorsey barely looked at her. It's what's written here. I opened my mouth to speak, but she was already shaking her head, crossing her arms tightly. No way. That's not fair. Dad always said we'd split everything. She looked at my mother for support, but Mom just let out a tired sigh and rubbed her temple. I don't know, honey. Your father never discussed this part with me. I swallowed hard. Tessa, it's not fair. It's about what Dad wanted. She let out another sharp laugh, this one colder. Oh, give me a break. You don't even need the house, Ray. You have a place. You have a job. An apartment. What do I have? I glanced at her. I knew she had been struggling. Tessa was always the wild one, the dreamer. She had never been able to hold a steady job. She was living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in credit card debt, moving from one overpriced rental to another. But that wasn't my fault. She pushed back from the table, shaking her head. This is bullcrap. Tessa, I said carefully. Dad made this decision because, oh, don't patronize me, Ray, she snapped. Dad probably wrote that when you were still married. Things change. That stung. Julia, my ex-wife, was long gone, and I had accepted that. But I wasn't about to let her use my divorce as a reason to steal what was meant for me. It doesn't matter when he wrote it, I said, keeping my voice even. It's legal. It's done. She let out a bitter scoff and muttered, yeah, we'll see about that. I should have known. I should have known she wouldn't let it go. A month passed. I was planning to move into the house soon. It needed some fixing up, but it was still standing strong, still holding all the memories Dad left behind. Then, one evening, my mother called me. Ray, she said, voice shaking. The house. It's gone. I felt my stomach drop. What do you mean gone? Tessa, she sold it. Silence. It rang in my ears, pressing against my skull like a vice. I didn't even realize I had dropped my glass until I heard it shatter on the floor. She what? My mother started crying. She said she found a buyer and signed the papers. Ray, I don't know how she did it, but it's done. I hung up without saying another word. I barely remember driving to Naperville. My hands were white-knuckled on the steering wheel, my heart slamming against my ribs. When I pulled up to the house, I nearly collapsed. The for sale sign stood on the front lawn. A big, ugly sold sticker was plastered across it. I threw the car in a park and stormed inside. Tessa was in the living room, shoving things into a bag when I kicked the door open. What the freak did you do? She barely looked up. Relax, Ray. I got a great price for it. My hands curled into fists. That wasn't yours to sell. She exhaled, rolling her eyes. It was ours. No, Tessa. My voice shook. It was mine. Dad left it to me. She gave me a smirk, tilting her head. And I decided you didn't need it. I saw red. Where's the money? My voice was low, shaking with rage. She hesitated, just for a second, and that was when I knew. She had already spent it. Tessa, I stepped closer. Where is the money? She licked her lips. I invested it. My stomach clenched. In what? She took a deep breath. Then, without a hint of remorse, she said, Derek. For a moment, I thought I misheard. Boo, my boyfriend, she said simply. He had this investment opportunity. Oh my God. I stumbled back, gripping the edge of the couch for support. She had given every last cent of my father's house, to her deadbeat boyfriend. And he had vanished. I stood there, staring at her, my mouth dry. You're joking, I finally said, though I already knew she wasn't. Tessa crossed her arms, shifting her weight. Ray, it's not like that. Not like what? My voice was sharp, edged with something I barely recognized in myself. Fury. Disgust. Not like you took Dad's house, sold it behind my back, and handed all the money to some guy. Her jaw tightened. Derek isn't some guy. He's my boyfriend, and he had a plan. A real plan. This was an investment, Ray. I let out a short, humorless laugh. An investment? What, in Bitcoin? Some pyramid scheme? Jesus, Tessa. How much? She hesitated, her fingers twitching at her sides. I took a step forward. How much? All of it. I actually felt lightheaded. I had to sit down, my hands clasped together, my breath coming in short bursts. All of it. Every last cent. Gone. The room around me, the place I had grown up, the place that had been mine, felt smaller, suffocating. The walls seemed to close in on me. My father's house, my inheritance, my last connection to him gone. Because of her. I looked up at her, my vision blurred with rage. Tell me you're messing with me. Tell me you didn't actually just give away our father's house to a goddamn scam artist. He's not a scam artist, she snapped. I let out a slow, shaking breath, pressing my fingers to my temples. Where is he now? Tessa opened her mouth, then closed it. My heart dropped. Where is he, Tessa? He's not picking up. A thick, heavy silence settled between us. I let the words sink in. She had given everything to this man. Every penny. And now, just weeks later, he was gone. I stood up, slow and deliberate. You are an idiot. Her face twisted in anger. Oh, freak off, Ray. No, seriously. I gestured around the room. Do you even understand what you've done? What have you taken from me? She groaned, rubbing her temples. I didn't take it from you. I used it. I was thinking about our future. My future. I stared at her, then let out a short, bitter laugh. So that's it? You just decided you needed it more than me. She threw her hands up. Yes. Okay. Yes. You don't need it, Ray. You have your cushy job, your apartment in the city, your goddamn salary. What do I have? I blinked. You had Dad's house. She flinched but recovered quickly. I had nothing, Ray. I was drowning. You wouldn't get it because you've always had everything handed to you. I actually laughed at that, shaking my head in disbelief. You think I had things handed to me? Oh, come on, Ray. Dad always saw you as the responsible one. The golden child. I was just a screw-up. I narrow my eyes. You don't get to play the victim here. You made choices, Tessa. This was your choice. She crossed her arms, biting her lip. I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. I shot back. You could have asked me for help. You could have swallowed your pride and talked to me instead of stabbing me in the freaking back. Her face twisted. Like you would have helped me. I would have. My voice was quiet but firm. I would have figured something out. But now. I scoffed. Now, I wouldn't give you a damn cent if my life depended on it. She rolled her eyes. Oh, you're so dramatic. That was it. That was the moment I felt something in me snap. I grabbed my keys and turned for the door. Where are you going? She asked. I didn't even look at her. To tell Mom. Behind me, I heard her sharp intake of breath. And for the first time that night, I heard the panic in her voice. Ray, wait. But I was already out the door. My mother was waiting for me when I got to her house. I don't know how she knew I was coming, but when she opened the door, she took one look at my face and sighed. Come in. I sat down at the kitchen table, and for a long moment, neither of us spoke. The old clock on the wall ticked steadily, the house smelled of lavender and old books, and for a second, I felt like a kid again. Like I was sitting there after scraping my knee, waiting for my mother to patch me up. But this couldn't be patched. She exhaled, shaking her head. Tell me. So I did. I told her everything. The house, the sale, the money, Derek, all of it. By the time I was done, her face was pale, her lips pressed into a tight line. She gave it all away? I nodded. Mom let out a slow, trembling breath, pressing a hand to her forehead. Oh, Tessa. I waited, bracing myself for her to defend her. For her to tell me that Tessa was just lost, that she was struggling, that we needed to be patient with her. But she didn't. Instead, my mother reached for her phone and, without hesitation, dialed Tessa's number. I heard it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then, her voice, small, hesitant. Mom, come over. Now. I could hear Tessa swallow over the line. No excuses. My mother cut her off. Be here in 10 minutes. Then she hung up. I raised an eyebrow. Did you just... She's not getting away with this. My mother's voice was cold. I had never heard her sound like that before. A few minutes later, Tessa showed up. She hesitated in the doorway, her arms crossed over her chest, looking like a guilty teenager. Mom, My mother cut her off. Sit. Tessa swallowed hard, stepping inside. She slid into the chair across from me, avoiding my gaze. For the first time, she looked small, nervous, like she knew she was about to face something she wasn't prepared for. And she was right. My mother exhaled, then leveled her with a look so sharp, so cold, I almost felt bad for my sister. Almost. You betrayed your own brother, Mom said, voice shaking. You took what wasn't yours. You stole from this family. Tessa's eyes darted to me, desperate. Ray, please, no, I said flatly. Not this time. Mom crossed her arms. You need to fix this. Tessa's mouth opened, then closed. I don't have the money. Mom's jaw clenched. Then find it. Silence. And for the first time in her life, Tessa had no answer. Tessa sat there, cornered. She shifted uncomfortably in her seat, opening and closing her mouth like a fish gasping for air. But there were no excuses left. No smooth talking her way out of this one. Mom wasn't yelling. She wasn't crying. She was just done. And somehow that was worse. You need to fix this, Mom repeated, her voice colder than I'd ever heard it. Tessa swallowed hard. I don't have the money. Then find it, Mom shot back. I can't just. Then figure it out, Tessa. Mom slammed her palm against the table, making both of us jump. You stole from your own family. From your brother. And for what? A man who ran off the second he got what he wanted. Tessa's face twisted with shame, but she still had that stubborn streak in her. I thought he loved me. I scoffed. Yeah? How's that working out for you? Her eyes flashed with anger. You don't have to be an a-hole about it. I let out a slow breath, leaning back in my chair. Tessa, I don't think you fully understand what's about to happen here. You sold a house that wasn't yours. That's fraud. I could take you to court for this. She paled. You wouldn't. I raised an eyebrow. Wouldn't I? You're my brother, she whispered. And Dad was my father, I shot back. That house was all I had left of him, and you took it without a second thought. Why the hell should I protect you now? Her lip trembled, but I didn't feel bad for her. Not this time. Mom exhaled sharply. Ray's right. What you did was illegal. And if I were you, I'd start thinking about how you're going to pay him back. But I can't, she whispered. Then you better find a way, Mom said, standing up. Because I swear to God, Tessa, if you don't fix this, you're on your own. Tessa's breath hitched. Mom, please, no, Mom snapped. I'm done making excuses for you. You always find a way to screw up, and you always expect everyone else to clean up your mess. But this is unforgivable. Tessa's eyes darted between us, as if hoping one of us would cave, would tell her everything was going to be okay. But neither of us did. Mom turned away. I suggest you leave. Tessa looked stunned. You're kicking me out? Mom didn't even look at her. I'm done with you, Tessa. You either make this right, or you're out of this family. Your choice. I expected her to lash out, to scream, to argue, to blame me for all of this. But for the first time in her life, Tessa had nothing to say. She stood up slowly, her hands shaking, and walked out the door without another word. I didn't hear from Tessa for weeks. Mom kept her word. She cut her off completely. No phone calls, no messages, no sympathy. She wasn't going to bail Tessa out this time. And me? I was done being a good brother. I have one goal now. To get back everything she stole from me. I met with a lawyer the next day. Real estate fraud, he called it. Tessa had no legal right to sell the house, and I had every right to sue her. It would take time, but I had the law on my side. But I wasn't just waiting around. I was going to hit her where it hurt. I started making calls. Derek was a scam artist. That much was clear. And the thing about scammers? They always have a paper trail if you know where to look. So I dug. I reached out to an old friend from college, James, a financial analyst who knew how to track money. And with his help, I found out exactly where the money had gone. Turns out, Derek had been scamming multiple women, not just Tessa. He had a history. Fake investment schemes, stolen identities, credit card fraud. He was dirty, and he was sloppy. And now, I had everything I needed to bury him. I gathered every piece of evidence, every financial transaction, every fraudulent contract. Then, I took all of it straight to the police. Derek didn't see it coming. Within a month, he was arrested on multiple counts of fraud. The police found even more victims, and before long, the case blew up. He was facing serious jail time. And Tessa? Oh, she got caught in the storm. She was named in the lawsuit, not as a victim, but as an accomplice. Turns out, she had signed off on some of the fraudulent transactions, which made her liable. She called me crying. Ray, please, she sobbed. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know what he was doing. I stayed silent. I can't go to jail, Ray, she choked out. I took a deep breath, then said, not my problem. She lost it. Are you freaking serious? You're just going to let this happen to me? I let out a dry chuckle. Like you let my house get sold? Silence. I continued, my voice calm. Actions have consequences, Tessa. You thought you could steal from me and walk away? Well, guess what? Now you get to live with what you did. She sobbed, begged, swore she'd pay me back. But I was done. Goodbye, Tessa, I said and hung up. Derek was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Tessa? She barely avoided jail time. Her lawyer cut a deal. She had to pay restitution for her part in the fraud, which meant she was in debt for years. Every paycheck she made, every cent she earned, it all went to repaying what she helped steal. She lost everything. Her apartment, her friends, her reputation, and worst of all, her family. Mom never forgave her. She refused to speak to her, and for the first time, Tessa was truly alone. As for me, I never got the house back. That still stung. But I got something better: justice. Tessa thought she could steal from me and laugh it off. Thought I'd be fine without it. Turns out, I was more than fine. I was free, and she was the one who lost everything.